Hi everyone, this is Sonal here. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes to see if people are joining. Hello, Destiny Faith. Hiya. All right, I'm gonna get started. My name is Sonal. Hi, Destiny Faith. Hope you're good. Thanks for joining in. I will be talking about medical physics and radiation therapy today. I've done this session before with the addictive brain before, and if you are interested, please go and check that video out on the YouTube as well. So I wanted to answer some of your questions, and most of the questions that I've gotten for this session are related to the program of medical physics and radiation therapy, how to get into the program, what are the prerequisites, what happens after, what kind of jobs you get, and things. So it's a little different than I would have normally done, but I'm excited to dive into that and give you some insights on to look forward to. I will also be taking some questions on lives, so please send me your questions if there are any, and I'll try to answer them live as well. Hi Jimmy, hello. Nice to meet you all. So great to see you all here. Excellent. All right. So the first question is, what preliminaries are needed to become a medical physicist, and is it fun to be one? I love this question. I'll answer the second part of the question first. Is it fun to be one? Yes, absolutely. I mean, I always say, let the beauty of what you love be what you do. So if you really love what you do, it's always going to be fun. And I absolutely enjoy my job. It's partly because you get to interact with different kind of people, people with different understanding. They're different, doing different jobs. May it be professionals. You also have this a little interaction with the patients to understand what they're going through, and that makes a lot of difference, because then you get to see what you do actually makes a difference in people's lives. So it's great. Hi Prashadi, nice to see you here. All right, so yes, I do love what I do. So the answer, the first part of the question, what preliminaries are needed to become a medical physicist? So here is a little intel on it. You do need a undergraduate degree either in physics, biomedical sciences, and similar type of background. From then on, you can depending on what part of the globe you are, the progression differs. So if you, for example, if you're in the North America, you might have to go on to do your medical physics degree, like master's degree. You probably will have to do, after master's degree, that could be in medical physics, biomedical physics, physics, radiation biology, radiation physics. There are all sorts of different degrees in masters, so you can have one of those, and then you have to do to become a qualified medical physicist, to be able to work in the hospital, you have to be certified. And in order to get certification, you have to do a degree, that master's degree from ChemPep accredited university, and then you have to go on to do 2 years of medical physics residency in one of the hospitals. So that's actually getting the clinical experience. The other route that North America also applies, especially Canada, you have to have a PhD in physics or related background, and then you have to do a postdoc in a clinical and get a clinical experience, for example, in that field, in order to be certified and be able to work in the hospital. Now, all of this applies to be able to work in the hospital. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have that clinical experience to be able to work in the industry sector, and I'll get that to in a minute. For the Europe, or specifically UK, after the undergraduate, you probably need to find a NHS scientific training program in the hospital that is actually on the job kind of training, and that also gives you your master's degree plus the clinical experience you need in order to become a certified medical physicist in the UK. That's another route to be able to do that. In the rest of the world, I have to be really honest, I really don't know what entails or what are the programs that are needed in order to become a qualified medical physicist and to be able to work in the hospital. But if you send me the specific country, I would be able to find that information for you. And I've landed in this job after doing several other jobs. So it's not my first job, but now that I have it, I absolutely enjoy it. So just to answer, come back to the later part of the question. Yes, it's fun and I enjoy every bit of it. I wouldn't trade for anything. Here's the second question. What are the best universities, hospitals for medical physics residency? Again, this will depend on what part of the world you are in. In the UK, there are several really good medical physics universities and hospitals that you can go to in order to do your residency program, or what I call as a scientific, not I, but what they call as an NHS scientific training program. Some of the good ones are RMH, Royal Marsden Hospital, Leeds, Christie in Manchester, Southampton. There is one in Aberdeen. I don't know off the top of my head what the name is, but there are several ones, and you can actually find some of these lists on the NHS Scientific Training Program website. So go check that out. In the US, if you are asking about the US, then I would recommend to go on the CEMPEP.org, CEMPEP.org. Hi everybody, hi Ritul, wow, thanks everyone for joining. Hi Shweta. So go on the CEMPEP.org, and on the left hand side there is a medical physics residency schools. You can actually click on that, and it actually gives you the whole list of North American universities and hospitals that give really good programs. All of them are really good because they're CEMPEP accredited, so check them out. What I'm going to do is at the end of this session, I'm going to put up a little blurb with all these links. I'll probably write a post and send it to you via Addictive Brain, or you can check out my post, my Instagram page, Talking Science, and I'll post it on there as well for you guys to kind of go through it. And if you have any specific rest of the world countries that you want me to find out, I can do that for you as well. Just send me which country you are more interested in, and I'll let you know which centers. But there are tons of them in the UK, as well as Europe. There's Amsterdam, Utrecht, AVL in Amsterdam, and there's a couple in Mannheim, in Germany. There are really good ones in the Europe as well. So I can try to see if I can find a list for them and make this post for you, so you have a ready access to all of that information. Let's see. Are there any live questions? Hey, love the space theme. I know, right? Just thought I would rock a space theme today. All right, looks like there are hardly any questions online, but do send in your questions, guys, if you have any. Let's interact a little bit here as well. All right, so there is another question. What do medical physicists do? I love this question again. This is actually a very genuine question because people really don't understand what medical physicists or radiation therapists do. So it's very important to understand the background and understand what their main goal is. What is it why are they called medical physicist or radiation physicist or radiation therapist? What is it that their main idea is? So to answer this question, I would like to start off that it is a very highly specialized field which deals with the consultation, treatment of medical diseases such as cancer, mostly cancer, but other diseases. There are other medical physicists who also deal with other diseases as well. So there are three key main areas into which medical physics work, medical physicist work, and one of them being clinical consultation. Second one is research and development, and the third one is teaching. And I've just recently started to get interested in the teaching side of it as well. I love doing that. But these are the three main areas, and when I say clinical consultation, it's mostly related to the clinics. So you actually work in the hospital. You support and aid the clinicians to make a clinical decision on certain diseases. And I'm going to focus mostly on the cancer therapy because that's what my expertise is in. But there are other physicists who also deal with the imaging part of it. So for example, CT scan, X-rays, tomography, PET scans, and as such an MRI and lasers, for example. But mine is mostly not in the imaging part of it, but mostly in the therapeutic part of it. So the medical physicists in the therapeutic part are responsible for, in the clinics, are responsible for creating the treatment plans for the cancer patients, using sophisticated instruments and software technology that's available in the field. They are also they're also actually responsible to create these plans based on the external beam radiotherapy as well as internal beam radiotherapy that uses radioactive sources to do the internal treatments. And they are the people who actually do the accurate measurements of the radiation output to make sure that this machine that's actually producing this X-rays or radiation, a really high energy radiation, is working correctly, because we don't want to be in the situation where you end up giving the wrong dose or wrong treatment to the patients. Believe me, that could be a possibility. So it is their job to make sure to do all these measurements and to make sure that the output of the radiation therapy machine is what it's supposed to be. And that's mostly after hours job. So if you are interested in knowing more about this work schedule, let me know and I can go into a little bit more details of that, because you have to do those things once the patient treatments are completed, and then at the end of the day, then the physicists take over from radiation therapist. Radiation therapists are, again, just to remind you, are the people who actually deliver the radiation to the cancer patients. So the physicist will take over from the radiation therapist at the end of the day, and then they do all their testings and quality assurance, measuring the output, making sure everything is at par with and in compliance with the regulatory bodies. Okay. And again, they are the people who are involved with radiation, anything to do with radiation, such as the basic mechanism of what happens after, or basic mechanisms inside the cell after the irradiation. So they are the ones who understand the physics and biology of it, and make sense of what's all this radiation that is being delivered to the patient is doing to the patient. So if you have any questions about that, you gotta go find the radiation physicist. The second was research and development. Now, research and development could be a part of a clinic or a part of industry. So you can work as a research and development specialist in the clinics, because clinics are doing their own trials. They do their own research, and they are coming up with new strategies to deliver the radiation efficiently, accurately, and more precisely to the cancer patients. And these hospitals sometimes collaborate with the industries to make these machines more powerful and state-of-the-art, and to combine that. I just had a wonderful sunshine out of the window, so I had to look outside. So that is one of the things that the medical physicists also do. They drive all these clinical trials in terms of radiation therapy delivery. But you could also be on the other side. You don't have to be in the clinic to be doing that. You could be in the industry and still be doing the radiation, the development and the research. And that's what I do. So I'm not clinically up front, but I'm working with the industry in the research and development sector. And the third I mentioned was teaching. So they are also a huge part of the teaching world, academics. They are associated with the universities, hospitals, and do a lot of teaching. I think all three of these are equally distributed as their main roles. So any medical physicist is actually involved in the clinical decisions equally as they're involved in research and development and teaching. So you will find, if you want to become a medical physicist, you'll find that you'll probably be involved in all three sectors equally, depending on where you are in the world, basically. Okay, so let me see if there are any questions online, and we can start there. Hi everyone, wow, there's a lot of you here. Okay, thank you, Jobin. Keep going, all the best. Thank you. Hey, Ritul. Hey, is radiation therapy often used for pediatric cancers? Yes, absolutely. Now, there is a few pediatric cancers that radiation therapy is actually recommended as the primary treatment, but it is also utilized in combination with other treatments like chemotherapy and surgery. Medulloblastoma, for example, is one of the pediatric tumors that is treated with radiation, and there are different forms of radiation that work really well with the pediatrics. For example, not just the photon or x-rays, but also particle radiotherapy like protons. It depends on where we are treating with pediatrics, because the x-rays have a little bit different characteristics than the proton radiation therapy. So yes, absolutely, the radiation therapy is an indication for pediatric tumors as well. That's a really good question, and let's have a look. Hello, Leonardo. Pleasure to meet you too. Wow. Luis Malayala is saying, I'm interested in the philosophy of this physics. Of the medical physics. It is a philosophical thing. It is absolutely everything that you do from the beginning of your day to the end of your day has to be completely challenging, I would say. It's a challenging day. So you have to base your decisions. You have to remove yourself sometimes and look at the decisions that you are making. You have to think about it critically. You have to relate it philosophically to something that you can actually take it back to or relate it back to. So yes, I think that's a whole other dimension. I can talk about the entire day, the philosophy of physics, but we don't have entire day. But yes, thanks for mentioning that. It would be cool to watch at the smallest level of activity. Yes, and a lot of physicists actually deal with the understanding of the biomechanical interactions of the radiated cells to understand what exactly happens, because each and every cell, like these 37.5 trillion cells that your body is made up of, are different cells, and every cell reacts to the radiation differently. Perhaps in a predictable way, but their interactions are quite different. So it will be amazing to see how these interactions work, how the actual radiation kills the DNA. I mean, I would love to do that. And then now you're teaching, yes. Isn't that a fun thing to do? Thank you, Ritul. Does radiation therapy lead to important organ impairment, especially in children? If not, what is the success rate? Okay, this is a very specific question because it really depends on what type of tumor you are treating, what the age of that child is, and what organs are near the actual tumor, what critical organs are close to the tumor. So it's not a yes or no type of answer, honestly. It has to be, because I will have to look at what type of tumor it is, what child are we treating, how old the child is, where is the tumor exactly situated, and then when we do the radiation therapy treatment planning, that's what it can be determined if it will affect any of the organs at risk. For example, if we are treating spine, are we actually in close proximity to heart? if you are treating thoracic spine, for example, and things like that. So it's actually quite complicated. I wouldn't say there is an entire organ impairment. Yes, there might be side effects, but the side effects are temporary because the normal cells have the ability to repair themselves, unlike the tumor cells. So impairment is very, very unlikely, and it's in a very rare situations, especially in children, actually. And the success rate again depends on the entire, like all of these above mentioned points that I just laid out for you. It really depends on those points what the success rate will be for kids. And all right, so Wise Fetty is asking, what are the things that induce the release of endorphins? Natural ways. Ooh, prove it. Okay, well, I don't have an answer to that because I'm not an expert on the endorphins or the mechanisms or the pathways that relieves the endorphins, but I'm sure the Addictive Brain page has a lot of biochemical experts and neurochemical experts that can answer that question for you. What should I prove it? J. Isaac says, prove it. Prove it what? If you have a question, please let me know. So, alright. So, thank you. No problem. Alright, so that's it. So what I'm going to do is, I do have a couple more questions, but I will answer that. I think I've already answered part of it in my previous questions. But what I'm going to do is now put out a little blurb on this with all the links that I mentioned before about the universities, about the program and the details. I will forward this information to Addictive Brain as well, and if you want, you can look forward to my post that I will probably post in a couple weeks time. Sorry, give me that time. And I will, yes, my Instagram handle is Talking Science, and please do follow it for more updates and more interesting information on radiation therapy. And I will put that in one of the links for Addictive Brain as well, so you will have that handle to follow. If there are no other questions, it was lovely that you guys all joined in. And I'm excited. Hopefully I will see you again. If you have more questions, to DM me or send me a message. All right, see ya. Bye.